superstar.
G'day ball magnets. Today's episode is brought to you by My Muscle Chef. We all know how time consuming a high quality diet can be, and meal prepping on a Sunday. I know I can definitely relate to this with the training week and preparing for game day, but the best thing about My Muscle Chef is they're ready-made meals designed by dietitians and prepared by chefs to help you smash your goals. You can find more of My Muscle Chef in selected supermarkets, gyms, petrol stations, convenience stores, or just head to the website mymusclechef.com. And guys, for the finals, they've actually given us a massive discount, so you'd be silly not to get involved in this. You can get $120 off your next 6 orders using code BALLMAGNETS120 at checkout. We'll put that in the notes below. Again, head to the website mymusclechef.com to get involved.
All right, we're back here with Josh Giddey minus Ginnivan. I didn't know that you knew Giddey that well. How have you met him before?
A couple of years back, I went through the Hawks facility.
That was when we first met, I reckon.
Yeah. Oh, no, he would have been the Pie, sorry. I'm lying. What did I meet him?
Yeah, no, he would have been at the Pies then. I reckon, so the first night I met you, that's actually a good story. I went to listen to your talk. Remember you were doing those talks? Must have been after your first season in the NBA. You did one in at Albert Park Lake.
Yes.
Anyway, I went to the night with a mate, just like I was a big basketball fan. I was like, oh, Giddey's had an awesome season. They played the clip of LeBron talking about, this Giddey kid's a star. And anyway, you went up there and spoke, and I rocked up to the night and I looked at the thing and I was like, oh, I'm on Giddey's table.
Yeah.
And then I was like, one of the guys was like, oh yeah, Giddey's a Hawks fan. I was like, oh, that'd be epic. Would love to chat with him. And then I was just sitting with your fan. We chewed the fat. I met Daniel, your agent. Yeah. And then from there, I think that's when we got you out to Hawthorn through the club and things like that. Yes. I'm just trying to think where Giddey would have come into it. I'm sure you've got to know a lot of the Pies boys though as well.
Footy boys, even guys that I haven't really met through that, I've just become close with them. Just I try and connect with Australian athletes as much as I can. Obviously, I'm a huge footy fan, so and I know the footy boys are big basketball fans, so it's cool to just stay in touch with them. And Giddey was at the Boomers game. We played against China before we went to the Olympics, and I caught up with him, and CJ was there as well. So
nice.
Saw them boys, but it's just cool being friends with footy boys because both high level. We're all high level athletes in our own sports and stay in touch. And I'm a big footy fan; they're big basketball fans, so it's cool just staying around it in some sense and being mates with them. And we're all, similar age, not me and you, but
I've got you covered by about a decade. But what I was going to say, it's pretty cool because I think you and Nick Dacos are so similar. You're the best in your field for your age. You're both about 20, 21, and you guys are great mates. The three of us obviously got dinner a couple of weeks back, but even the fact that you two have each other to bounce off and share experiences, obviously you're doing it on a world scale in the NBA, but Nick's, pretty big here, to the point where when we did go out for dinner, it was actually you taking a photo of Nick and a fan rather than the other way around, which is quite funny. But what's your relationship like with Whisper? Because obviously we're all good mates, but do you find that you can share similar experiences? Yeah, no,
that's my boy. I mean, it is. I think it's cool because I first reached out to him when he got drafted and I just congratulated him. And he was a Thunder fan, and that's kind of how we started speaking. And then obviously it's been years since then, but stayed in touch. And he was in the States last offseason. We caught up in San Francisco.
I remember getting a few selfies from that trip with you boys.
Yeah. So, and obviously him being, same age as me, coming through the ranks, and Melbourne boy. And it's just cool. As I said, just staying in touch with the footy boys. Because I'm such a big fan of the sport. And he's, I don't want to sound like a fanboy, but he's, on pace to be,
the GOAT.
Yeah, one of the greatest footballers to pick up the ball. So, I'm a big fan of his, but and I know he's a big basketball fan. So we stay in touch pretty frequently. Obviously, we got dinner, us three the other couple of weeks back and saw him on Saturday night. So, that's my guy. And
we need to catch up with Cripper as well because he couldn't help us tonight. He's got bigger fish to fry with.
I hear.
With a baby in his life now, and obviously a big game in Perth for this week. But who do you think rounds out the 8? Because there's 2 rounds to go. Have you had a close look at the ladder? Because there's going to be a few teams who are just going to miss out.
I think the Hawks. I think just with their run home, I think they got North and somebody.
Tigers.
You'd think they'd win both of them.
I think so.
Tigers this week, and you'd think I think they win both. They're in, right?
Yeah, I think they're currently 8th. So if they win both, they're in.
I think Carlton.
Can they make it?
I think they beat West Coast this week. Who they got the last round?
St Kilda.
I think they win both of them.
Yeah.
But I mean, only so many teams.
Have you seen the injury list at the moment?
Yeah.
So they've got 6 forced changes this week, which that's a lot.
I still think they can get over West Coast.
Yeah.
I always back my man Cripper. And,
yeah.
When he's in there, they got a chance. So
he needs a 3-vote game as well.
Yeah, I think it's 6 votes coming up for him.
Is he in your super coach, by the way?
Oh, yeah. He was in it from the start.
Is he captain?
Yeah, so Supercoach, another conversation.
I think no. Sorry, you put me in the team early.
Yeah.
Remember, you're like, should I trade you? And then I must have got injured not long after.
Yeah.
Sorry,
so,
mate.
but no, Supercoach is like, so Bont was like my number one pick, from the jump, and he's been my captain. Well, it's like you vice captain a guy that plays early in the rounds, you captain a guy that plays later in the round. So, sleeper pick was Tristan Cherry, just unbelievable player this year.
He all Oz.
Yeah, he was a superstar for my team. But then you got the regulars, Lockie and.
So Lockie's in there too?
Yeah.
So you had all your boys in there?
Yeah, I had everyone. I mean, I was pretty ball magnet heavy. Dominant team. Nick Dacos is a very selected player as well. But Supercoach, sorry to ramble on, but love that game. A lot of fun.
Who's in your league? Who do you play against?
So I played against a bunch of my mates. We all came together. There was 20 guys in the league, and I just missed out on the finals, so I was a bit flat about that. But it's always next year, and I'll bounce back.
Yeah, you'll bounce back. Yeah. What's it like in the NBA in the locker room? Like, what do guys play? Are they big on NFL fantasy? Like, what do they follow? Because like I know here in Australia, say especially at Collingwood and Hawthorn, the clubs I've been at, everyone loves NFL fantasy.
Yeah.
And it's sort of what the locker room thrives off.
Yeah.
What are the guys into? Like, how do they? Because I'm sure they've got little competitions going, like every club.
Like it's different. Like obviously the big, like a few guys do NFL fantasy.
They don't get NBA fantasy. They don't do it on themselves.
No, I don't think we can. I don't think we're allowed to.
Yeah, gotcha.
But NFL fantasy would be the one. There's a lot of obviously everyone's NFL fans in the NBA.
Yeah.
Whatever, like planes. I mean, a lot of gambling.
Yeah.
No, I shouldn't say gambling. It sounds bad, but like we
Playing
play
cards and things.
We play cards.
Yeah. We got a lot of time to kill on those road trips.
Yeah, like long flights as well. I was like Oklahoma. Every flight was pretty quick because we're in the middle of the country. But like now Chicago, like flights are a little longer. So
West Coast, Western,
East Coast.
Yeah.
But
East Coast, West Coast will be long flights now.
Yeah. But no, NBA locker rooms are fun. Like plane trips, I think that's some of the best times. Like especially with the team I was just on, like. They were some of my closest friends, like getting to spend that much time with them.
Yeah, it'll be good fun.
You don't you take it for granted in the moment. I think those like locker rooms and plane rides, bus rides, like is a lot of fun. So,
I was going to say I listened to Carmelo Anthony's podcast, 7 p.m. in Brooklyn. Not sure if you've listened to it.
I've seen it. Yep.
One of my favorite pods. Anyway, we're doing quite a bit with him with Ball Magnets in September. He's coming out, I think 17th of September. Run some camps with him. We'll do some of this style stuff as well. Have some good chats with him. But have you had much to do with Carmelo? And obviously, I'm sure you admired him as a player, but has Jordan Lawley, your trainer, has he worked with Melo as well?
He has. Yeah. Jordan's worked with a lot of the greats.
Yeah.
And he obviously has. I don't have much relationship with Melo, but Jordan does, and I think him coming, to Australia, just one, it shows the impact. It shows how good Australian basketball's getting. That like people like that want to fly so far to give back to kids here. But, he's obviously one of the greatest to ever play.
Top 10 in scoring.
Yeah, just like a lot of knowledge to pass down. So it's going to be unbelievable for the kids out here having someone like that to be able to learn from, be around, experience. So he'll be great for kids out here, and they'll enjoy having a guy like that.
Yeah, it's pretty
down
epic.
in Melbourne, and he's going to enjoy coming to Australia as well. I don't know if it's his first time or not, but he'll love it.
I know he's got some fishing and different things sorted, but on his podcast, he had Dwayne Wade on as a guest. Obviously, they're good friends, and they were chatting about some really interesting things. They sort of were talking about LeBron and his longevity. And D Wade was saying how, each year he felt he got a bit older. He might have lost a step, but it actually made him better in other ways. Like it made him slow down, see the game a bit differently. It made his fadeaway, his post-up game, all things better. I'm not sure if LeBron's lost his athleticism, but have you seen from, he's been one of your favorite players, have you seen a change in his game over the 20 years he's played? Obviously, when he came in, he was raw, explosive. He's still got that athleticism, but does he do it a lot differently now in the way you see it?
I think obviously when when he was younger, like he was, he still is a freak athlete, but he was, as you get older, you naturally lose some of it. He's still an unbelievable athlete, but I think as you get older, you start to understand the game better. You start to become smarter. Your IQ goes up. So he probably doesn't rely on his athleticism as much as he did. Like, I don't want to speak for him, but he's an unbelievable passer. I think that's got better as his career's gone on.
And he can still shoot a three as well.
Yeah, I think that's been the underrated part of his career. Like, he's always been like a good shooter. Yeah. Like, he shot it above 40% last year. Like, so, and for him to do that, at this age is like never been seen before. Like, it's just, it's like, and especially as a player in the NBA, you don't want to fan out too much over these guys. But like, that was someone I grew up watching my whole childhood, and it's unbelievable to see that, I was born in 2002. He was drafted in 2003. So like
you're on the court as well when he makes the shot to beat the scoring record. That's insane.
That was that's a story for another time. That was an unbelievable night.
Yeah. But, can you touch on the story quickly? Because you've told us before, but like what actually happened that night? You went into the game. Did they pre-warn you that, guys, LeBron's going to beat the scoring record tonight? How many points did he need?
Like 36 or something.
So he got 36.
So he needed a lot. Like that wasn't like a given. Like
so it wasn't a guarantee he was going to get it.
Nah, but I think it was like the weeks leading up. It was like there was all these like they were tracking it. Like when was he going to break? It was either us or it was the next night in Milwaukee or whatever it was. And coming into the game, he needed, I think it was like mid-30s. I don't know what it was exactly, but they told us the morning of the game, they're like, look, LeBron, there's a chance he breaks the record tonight. If he does, we're going to stop the game. There's going to be like a ceremony. The only way they weren't going to stop the game if it was under 6 points with a minute to go. That was the only way they weren't going to stop the game. But he did it in the end of the third quarter. Stopped the game. I see Adam Silver was sitting in the crowd. Like he gets walked out with his security. And everyone's media starts coming on the court. Like LeBron's friends and family come on. And they do like a 20-minute presentation. And the game, it's still the third quarter like of the game. So we're standing there like watching. And it was just like, I'm not complaining. It was an unbelievable thing to be a part of. Like, don't know if it will ever happen again in our generation. Like, just unbelievable achievement. Deserved that recognition. And, we had to wait for 20 minutes. So we were all kind of getting cold on the bench. And he actually scored. Like he broke the record. And then it was a close game as well. And he didn't play the rest of the night. Like that was.
They took him off after that.
Yeah, we won the game. So we kind of got the best of both worlds. We got to experience that, win the game. So, but really cool night to be a part of. And as I said, I don't know if it's going to happen again for a long time.
Why is it that they don't count playoff points in all-time points? That's a really weird thing because...
Well, it's hard to... Because if a player goes to the finals every year, like their points are obviously elevated. The amount of games they played. So I don't know. It's a little... I don't know the answer. But
it's kind of like saying, say, Pendle's breaking the all-time disposal record. Like that includes finals games.
Yeah. I think because they have two different... They have like an all-time playoff point leader. They have like,
and then regular season.
Yeah.
He's probably got both in LeBron, I would think.
Yeah, you'd say so. He's been to 10 finals, so you'd probably say.
Yeah. So on that pod as well, Dwayne Wade was talking about what we just touched on about how he improved all these other facets with getting older, and he actually thought he was a better player at 35 than he was at 25, which is crazy to think. But like Pendles is our guy as well. I think he's the epitome of that in the footy sense because, he's been playing great footy for, the best of 2 decades, but he still finds a way at 36. Like, sure, he's slowed down, but he's always chats to me about, it's your smarts that gets you through though. Like these young guys, like they might come in and they've got this raw speed and things like that, but can they think the game? Can they know how to use their craft in every situation of every second to think quicker to actually get the job done? Yeah.
No, I agree. I think, and it's evident in both sports. Like Pendles, I feel like I say this every time I talk about it, but like when he gets the ball, like everything's like slow. He never gets rushed, sped up. And I think as you get older, like you start to become more aware of the game, become smarter, your IQ's higher. So same in basketball, like as you get older. And I'm lucky because I'm a guy that like doesn't rely on athleticism to like get me going. Like so I feel like when I'm older, nothing's going to change too much for me because I'm going to be a similar player. So
that's cool.
But guys, it's different for guys that are like freak athletes that once they get older, the athleticism slows down, like how they can still be effective. But yeah, I mean, everyone has to adapt, and I think the guys that adapt the best have a longer career. And obviously, it's evident with Scotty. He's
still going.
What year is this for him?
Signed him for next year, so that'll be, I'm guessing, 19.
Like 19 years in AFL.
Still going well. I reckon he'll be top 5 in our best and fairest again this year.
Yeah, like it's just longevity is such an underappreciated like asset I think a player can have, and there's not many better than him and that's ever played footy. So. To still do what he's doing at this age and this point of his career is just nuts and speaks to like taking care of your body. He's still in great shape. So
he's probably got the best rig at the club, to be honest.
I wouldn't know that.
Unbelievable, Nick. Yeah.
It just helps like taking care, looking after yourself and pays dividends in the long run.
Yeah, for sure. And like you're younger, obviously, but like your IQ and knowledge is something that separates you even at your age. And it's, pretty admirable just as an athlete from another sport. But, you just hear the commentary around your game. We've been fortunate enough to shoot some content with you at Hoop City, where we've done a lot of drills with DMAC and things. Obviously, you're pretty passionate about helping the next generation of basketballers within Australia. We know how big basketball here is getting, and like our Boomers team is constantly improving. Like, hopefully we catch the US one day. But what do you want to tell everyone about sort of some of the skills and drills that you've sort of, tried to teach that we'll be releasing pretty soon?
Yeah, I think it's just things that you can do every day. It requires a lot of it, you need a hoop, but some other stuff like ball handling stuff, all you need is like a ball and a little bit of space. You can do it at home, in the backyard, driveway, wherever it is. And I think it's just little things that I mean, the stuff that I'm giving, from my experiences growing up, like what I used to do as a kid, and whether it was ball handling, shooting, passing, finishing, whatever the case may be, just little things you do 10 minutes a day. And you might not think in the first week, 2 weeks, 3 months, anything's happening. But as you start to get older, you'll thank yourself for doing all these things 10, 15 minutes a day, because it pays off. It's like, short term where you're not seeing results. It's like investments, it's investing in yourself and
keep top of the bank.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, putting $1 million into a company and it doesn't boom on day 2. It's like, you got to wait and wait and wait. And eventually in the run, it's going to pay dividends back to you. So same as drills and skills, like for the kids or whoever's trying to get better at the game. It's just things you can work on, whether you're at a court, at home. There's all types of things you can work on. And 10 minutes a day is all you need. And, it'll pay off in the long run.
Yeah, it's super exciting for the ball magnets community. Obviously, we've had a heavy focus on footy, but after what you've been able to achieve in the Olympics in your basketball career so far, to have your expertise doing these drills, a lot of it will be on our YouTube channel, but across all our socials as well. So we're really excited for that, kids. It's good to have you back in Australia.
Good to be back.
You're heading back to Chicago in a couple of weeks.
September 1.
And then when's training camp?
September, I think the last week of September.
Okay. So you'll settle in.
Yeah.
You'll still be training over there, and then everyone gets together. And then when's the season start?
October 20. Schedule gets released tomorrow. So
you got no idea who'll be first game?
I got an idea.
You do know?
But the
Can't say?
I'll tell you off camera, but
yeah, okay. All right, everyone will have to wait till tomorrow.
Yeah. Schedule's released tomorrow.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for the chat, kids, and good to have you back home.
All good. Thanks, Tommy.
Josh Giddey, ball magnet. Welcome back to Australia. Good to have you back on home deck, mate. It's been a while since we've seen you.
Has been. It's great to be back as always.
What have you been up to since you've been home? Obviously, I've seen a few stories on your close friends.
Yeah.
You got a house along the coast somewhere. Looks like a pretty nice setup.
Yeah. Place in Brighton. Yeah. Funny enough, it's actually Brad Sewell's place.
Is it really?
So yeah,
he owns it.
Yeah, he owns it. So we Airbnb that when we come back.
So you're a Hawthorn nuffy?
He does. I'm a back and forth Hawks Collingwood.
Yeah.
It's his place, so it's just off Beach Road.
Yeah.
Work out of Hoop City, so it's 10-minute drive. It's kind of close to everything that we need, and great spot. Got my friends living with me, so
the entourage.
Yeah, the entourage. So life's good.
I know you love Entourage, the TV series. I've literally I've been a bit injured this year, so I've been watching it. I've gone from episode 1 right to the end, and I get a bit of Vinny Chase vibes from you, and then I get a bit of Johnny drama from your mate Paddy.
We always joke about it. Daniel Zari.
Well, what about the video message you showed me the other day where you got a personalised video message from Johnny Drama to you?
And there was one from Lloyd as well. Well, Daniel actually did them, and he woke up. It was kind of like Monday motivation. It was like a Monday morning thing he sent me. And it was drama. The first one was Lloyd, and I said
to you,
yeah, it was to me. And Lloyd was like, he went on like this 3-minute rant, like motivational quotes and whatever. And then the next one came through from Drama, and then I got Ari to Jeremy Piven to do one for Daniel. So we both love Entourage.
It's probably like best show, honestly.
Yeah,
best show.
I think it's easy to binge it. 20-minute episodes.
Yeah,
it's relatable, especially for my life. Like it's relatable.
Yeah.
So
the cameos are unreal as well.
Yeah, like real life, like celebrities in there. Like I love it.
If only it was filmed now, we'd try and get your head on there.
Yeah, they couldn't do that.
You'd be paying them to try get on.
I would love to get on, trust me, but they couldn't do it these days. The things they said in that show wouldn't fly in this day and age.
Yeah, it's pretty ruthless. Yeah. Stuff. Have you got a mate who's always bragging about their latest NBA same-game multi-wins but never seem to have the good mail for yourself? Well, get them to jump on BuddyBet where the spoils can be shared. BuddyBet is your one-stop shop for social betting and it has unique products like peer-to-peer, jackpot, and BuddyBet Golf that you won't find anywhere else. What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call 1800-858-858 or visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. But so how many days at the moment you're at Hoop City?
We're there Monday to Saturday.
Every day?
Yeah, every day. So we're there in the mornings, we lift, then we'll get on court, then we'll take time throughout the afternoon, rest, recover, then we'll go back at night. And then we go to Nick Popovich, who's my weights trainer. He's got a big recovery facility at his place. So we go there after our night session. So it's full on days, Monday to Saturday. And that was kind of my whole mindset coming back. Like, I just wanted to, and it's easy to get distracted, especially being back home in Melbourne. There's so many things to do. I wanted to just make sure that basketball's a priority, you know, being healthy, getting stronger, getting fit, working on my game was the number one priority. And that's kind of what I've been in. And I've based all the training at times where instead of going to dinners, going out, I have to be on the court. So
that's good.
Kind of being disciplined with that. And Sunday's the only day we kind of have off.
I remember coming out there last year and we saw you doing a a session with Pop, your weights coach, and I run into him up in Adelaide. It seems like you got a pretty good crew around you. Who was that? Was it D-Mac doing the skills with you last year? Is he still playing a role?
Yeah, D-Mac. Well, he's up in Brisbane now with
he's coaching
the Bullets, so he's coaching up there. So he hasn't been down for a while. But my trainers that I usually work out with in LA, they're actually here. So they came out.
Jordan Lawley.
Tony and Jordan work together. Tony Vassatoro works with Jordan. So Tony's out here before the Olympics, and then after the Olympics, Jordan comes out. So
that's cool.
One of them's always here. But it's just great to have good people around me that we're all on the same page, and it just makes things flow easily.
Yeah, for those that haven't listened to that previous episode, that was a tout from Josh. So Jordan Lawley, one of the best trainers in the world. He trains Josh. He trains Dyson Daniels. He's trained Carmelo Anthony. We actually did a really cool pod with him. So that's a previous episode for anyone that wants to look. But one thing I do find interesting, and we've talked about this off air, but is how all the salaries and things are public knowledge.
Yeah.
Like that's just how it is. And I saw something the other day. Luka's now eligible to be the highest paid player ever if he commits to his next contract.
Yeah.
That's purely due to the fact that he's made all NBA teams and things like that. But it seems as though the salary cap of the NBA is just going every year. Like you're coming to the league at a good time.
Right. I mean, well, Jaylen Brown's the highest paid now. It'll be somebody next year. It'll just keep going up because they do new TV deals and salary cap goes up and inflation and everything happens.
Yeah.
And
I was actually looking at some of the numbers before. I won't embarrass you and say what it is, but it is public. And SGA, for example, he's on $35 million a year US, and that's for the next 5.
Yeah.
And that's all guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Like, I mean, the NBA is, the fact it's public, I mean, everyone can see it, but, there's a lot of money going around in there. And obviously, the arenas are packed out. They make a lot of money. So the NBA as a whole. So, we're obviously very grateful for the money we make. But, I mean, it is public and everyone kind of knows it. So it's not really a secret.
Yeah. How do you, so for, people coming through as athletes, getting their first jobs, like how do you make sure that you come out of basketball in a good financial position? Because we've had guests on here who are gurus in finance, and obviously it's topical as athletes, you earn this money in your prime, but I gather you have a team around you that helps you with that. And then, but how much do you educate yourself? Because you're pretty business savvy, which people may not know about you, whether it's with the ball magnet stuff, you're always interested what's going on. I know you're involved in a number of things. So what's your approach to it all?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was always about the number one thing for me was making sure my family was good. That was like my big thing for my rookie deal.
Yeah.
My parents, I wanted to make sure they're the ones that, they did everything for me growing up. And it's like, now is my time to repay them. They can chill out. And I want to look after them, my family. Yeah. So that was my number one thing. And then the second thing was, creating generational wealth, which is, so my kids, their kids, everyone's set. Yeah. And, so I'm smart with my money. I've got good people around me, but at the same time, I do enjoy it. Like I do love to shop and do different things.
You're good with your fashion. I've seen your pre-game walkouts are decent.
So, and obviously, hopefully I can, keep getting contracts. So by the time I retire, I've invested, saved, however you want to look at it, enough money that, everyone down the line is good and taken care of.
And what about in terms of property? Like, do you own property? Like we've had brief chats about where you plan to build and live and wherever basketball takes you. But
I mean, property, is obviously something I'm very interested in. And,
I've seen some of your plans. Don't worry.
Yeah. So, you've seen them, but they'll come to fruition eventually.
Part 3.
Yeah, exactly.
And I assume as well that, you had a lot of challenging times this year on court, and there's a few off court things which were really tough for you. And it seems as though you had a great support team, which you've touched on, but talk to us about some of those points during the year and how hard they were. And do you think it impacted your performance? Because I've heard you speak about as well, as athletes, people forget you're actual humans. You're not just objects that people can say and do whatever they want to you. And I guess to a lesser extent, it happens here in the AFL, like whether it be social media or media and people that don't even know you who want to bash you without knowing an actual situation. And there's nothing you can really do. So talk to us about your experience in living that. Yeah, I mean, it's not easy.
Fans, they're passionate about their team and players, and sometimes they can cross lines, with, as you said, like athletes are people, like they're humans, they've got feelings, like they hear and see things. And as much as people on Twitter and Instagram might think that their comments don't get seen, like players and stuff, we see everything. Like we always kind of talk about it on the planes, like, and in the locker room, like people would DM players, and if their bet loses or if something doesn't happen in the game, like we always joke about it in the locker room, but it's not easy, especially for me in my situation. Like, just getting booed and hearing that type of stuff on the road. was tough, and that would be tough for anybody. But I was just very lucky. I had really good people around me that kind of guided and helped me and were there for me. My teammates were unbelievable. The organization, Sam, Mark, and everybody throughout, and obviously Daniel, my close friends and family, and I had really good people around me. Yeah. So I was fortunate, but not everybody has that luxury, and it can be a dark place, and you can feel really isolated. And I was just fortunate to have really good people that were there for me and care about me, and you know, it kind of made going to work, getting up every day easier. But yeah, it's tough because, you know, athletes are real people. Like, it's not like a circus where you come to watch us and we're acting. Like, we're real people and we're humans, and you know, it's I guess it's part of the sport where fans, you know, they're passionate, but at the same time, there's also a line that sometimes they cross, and it's hard as athletes to go at every fan and tell them to shut up. But you know, as much as we'd love to, and you probably get the same.
Oh, man, I've experienced plenty of it. Like, I was so interested in what you just said about, you know, I'm sure you get so many messages, and every player does, about someone not winning their sports multi, and like some of the language they use, like to teammates of mine, I'm just like, this is unbelievable. But when they've been called out on it, they're the first to say, "Oh, sorry, I just wanted a reaction."
Well, so they don't think players are going to see it.
Yeah,
they think they can just send it. They're angry, they send it. And I'm not going to lie, I did it. I actually had a funny story. Jack Billings. Yeah. Funny story. When I was I might have been in year 9, year 10, and I was playing super coach, and he wasn't scoring the way I needed him to. And I sent him a message, and he replied right before the draft, the NBA draft, and it was probably 3 years later. But so I've been in their shoes. Yeah. The things I said to him are nothing aggressive. I just said, I need some
man, I need a few more points.
But some of the messages that fans send players are just like, I can't believe it. And what you see on Twitter, Instagram, like
it is a funny thing to deal with. But from what I can gather, which is such a cool thing to hear, is that, and I've been through things as well, like whether it be outside of footy or when footy's not going well, but having like a safe place, like, you know, sometimes you do want to isolate yourself when things aren't going great in your life, but sometimes you just have to put yourself, like for me, around my teammates. Like at the moment I'm injured, I'm going to be out for a period of time. The last thing you want to do, I really struggle with game day, like being out there game day when everyone's about to play, but during the week you get around the players and it's just the locker room chat, the stuff that gets you through it, and you need that like social care and energy, which it sounds like you had. Yeah,
especially, and you know, it's when you're injured, it's obviously different. You're not playing, but when you're playing, and for me, this year was just, it felt like a nightmare that was never going to end. And you know, I felt like I couldn't get going. I'd string, you know, 1, 2, 3 good games together, then it'd be like a stretch of bad ones, and it just felt like I could never build any momentum. And it was like, it felt to me like such an isolated place, and like I was unique and I was on my own, and that I was the only player in the league going through it. And once I realized that I wasn't, there's other players that are struggling as well. They're not playing well. They're not doing the things they want to do. I started to wrap my head around it a little more. But the thing I found the best was just integrating myself into the team, whether it's on the plane, at hotels, in the locker room. Just being around my teammates made things so much better.
Yeah. It's crazy to think, like, you know, like with challenges, like people forget how young you are, like 21, but you've already got such a good head on your shoulders, which the way you carry yourself, it's seriously impressive. But I kind of liken it to, I'm not sure if you've experienced this, but sort of when I got drafted, it's, okay, how do I get my first game? Yeah. It's like, okay, how do I cement my spot? Yeah. Okay, how do I cement my spot and play well? How do I get to cement my spot, play well, be one of the best in the team or the league or whatever? And then in the end, through maturity and everything, it's like, okay, how do we as a collective win a championship or win a premiership, and how can I sacrifice to contribute to do that? And it sounds like you're already on that journey right now. Like it's natural. Like you got to be comfortable and know that you've made it before you can, you know. Exactly. Otherwise, what's the point of giving all of yourself? So I feel like that's just the journey you've been on, which every athlete goes on. Yeah, I mean, especially as an NBA guy, it's the I wouldn't say the lifespan. The span of an NBA player is like 4 or 5 years. Is that the average? Yeah, they do. Like when you're a rookie and you first get to the league, you do meetings and things, and they tell you about statistics, and they say, you know, 10 of you are going to be out the league in a few years, and it kind of go, and I don't know if it's meant to scare you or whatever it's meant to do and make you work harder, but it's like a real thing. And you look at it, and every year we have team meetings, and a couple of us, they say a couple of you are not going to be here next year, and it's true. Like you come in the next year, and a few of those guys are gone. Yeah. Whether they're out the league or not is another. They might be traded, they might be injured, they might be somewhere else. So there's different things that can happen, but yeah, to your point, like it's the same for me as a rookie. You come in, you want to play. Yeah, and you, like, look how fortunate you've been. Like you've started in an NBA team since day one. Like, how many people can say that? Yeah,
it's not overly common. I was fortunate to come into a situation where we weren't winning a lot. We weren't a great, playoff team or anything yet. So I was fortunate to come into a situation like that. But it's from the start. You want to obviously cement your spot, as you said, cement your spot, become better and better and better. And I mean, there's ebbs and flows throughout any player's career, and you feel like you're at some point you're at the top of the mountain. You feel like other days you're at the lowest point. So that's the tough part about sports as well. It's constantly up and down. And it fluctuates your emotions, and you can have a great game, and I feel like it'd be tough in footy. You have a great game, you have a bad game, you got to wait a whole week.
Oh yeah,
and that feeling that sits with you. Yeah. It's the same in basketball, but it's only 24 hours, 48 hours. But I can't imagine footy.
Well, we had Lockie Neal in here last week talking about exactly this, and he thinks his biggest improvement has come from the ability to let go of things. And we had a really good chat, Lockie and I, and we were sort of discussing, okay, if our careers ended right now, would we be content? And I've had a bit of reflection time being injured. It's been really interesting because everyone always says to me, like, oh, you've won a Brownlow, you've won a premiership, like, you've done everything. But I'm like, oh, there's still a part of you that you always want more. You're never going to be satisfied. Yeah. And so that's something I'm dealing with at the moment, because then you look at, there's always another level to get to. Like, look at someone like a Joel Selwood. He's won 4 premierships. Yeah. He's been one of the best captains ever. Like, there's always something to reach. But how do you find that contentness within yourself? And I've never really shared it or spoken about it, but it's just been a bit of a self-discovery journey I've been going on at the moment. I'm at the back end of my career, so I've got to start to find a way to be content and happy, because, and maybe a way to fulfill that is, like you said, like relationships. Maybe it doesn't always have to be numbers, accolades, stats, all these things. Like, you come out of the league with great friends, know who's really there for you, and sort of that bigger picture of what's important in life. And I think, I feel like, you got to be, like what we're talking about now, like, you've had your challenges this year, but like, how cool is it, and how grateful would you be that you've played 3 years in a row from day dot in the NBA? Yeah. You're going to lead the Boomers in the Olympics. Like, when you reframe and change that in your mind, I feel like it helps. That's what I've been trying to tell myself.
I agree. I think when you zoom out and you look at it from the perspective of somebody that wants to be in your position, it kind of puts everything into perspective, because imagine how many people that play local footy that wish they could win a Brownlow medal, win a premiership, play in the AFL, play in the VFL. Like, so when you look at it like that, it does help. Yeah. And same as me, imagine there's millions and millions of kids, people around the world that want to be in the NBA, want to be in the NBL, want to play professional basketball. And, I'm in that position, and, I'm in a good position. We're living our dreams. This is exactly what we wanted to do our whole life. So that perspective definitely helps. But at the same time, we're in it now. So it's like, you can't always have that mindset of...
It means a lot to you in the moment.
Yeah.
Cripper's really good at talking about this. Yeah. You should definitely have a chat with Cripper, because, like, you wouldn't be competitive and a competitor if you didn't want to keep striving. Like, you can't just accept it. But it is hard. I don't know, man. I don't know the answer.
I don't think there is an answer. I think everyone's different. Everyone can be, there could be a player that is content with being drafted. He's happy just to be drafted, and he just wants to float by and be there. There's other people that have higher expectations, high goals for themselves, and every person's different. But I agree with what Cripper said. The competitor in you should want to keep getting better, and one Brownlow's not enough. You want 2, you want 3. 1 championship's not enough. You want more. So I think that's what makes great players. That edge, that drive, and that want to keep going. And the guys that come in and think they've made it when they get there, they're the guys that don't stay, in my opinion. So it's that mindset.
Yeah, it's always striving. You've obviously got a good relationship with Dyson Daniels, and you guys are going to be key part of the backcourt for the Boomers for years to come. And you guys have followed very similar journeys. A great guy, Dice. We're obviously out the other week with him, and super humble guy. But you played the Pelicans in the first round, and obviously swept them. Yeah. But talk to us about your relationship with Dice, because you guys are obviously close, both top 10 draft picks, both got bright futures. Talk to us a little bit about Dyson, the person and the player.
Yeah. Well, great guy, first of all. I mean, we lived together in Canberra at the AIS for a while. So we played against each other all the time growing up, and we've known each other from a young age. We played in our first state team together when we were a Victorian team. I was 12. I would have been 11. He would have been 10. So it was the SSV under 12 one. That was the first time we ever played together. And then 6 years later, or 5 years later, we're at the AIS together. A couple years later, I get drafted. 12 months later, he gets drafted. So
who was pick 6? Who was pick 7?
I was pick 8, 6. I was pick 6. He was pick 8.
Okay, cool.
So he went pick 8 the year after. Yeah. But we've always been on a similar journey because we're the same age. Yeah. So, and that's my boy. We're very close, and obviously, We've grown up together. So, yeah, obviously we train together while we're back here. I see him every day. You know, we go out together, we have fun together. So that's my guy, and we're very close.
No, I love that. Let's talk about some footy because I know you want to. You love the AFL more than anyone. So let's get off the basketball. Let's get on the footy. You went to the King's birthday game, Collingwood, Melbourne.
Yep.
You got a few more games coming up. Which are you attending?
Yeah, Hawks, Richmond this week.
Dusty's 300th.
Dusty's 300.
That's huge.
So I'm looking forward to that. Obviously, a superstar in the game, one of the greats. And that'll be a big day.
Yeah. And I can see your face light up when you talk about footy.
I like talking about footy more than basketball.
Yeah. Well, it's the same for me. I'll talk about basketball more than footy.
Yeah.
So.
And then Geelong Carlton.
Yeah, huge.
The week after. So two big games coming up.
Let's get some predictions. Who's going to win the flag this year? Who's going to win the Brownlow this year?
I want to say Collingwood, but I also think Sydney is a real contender.
Yeah.
I think they've been very good this year.
Yeah.
The Brownlow, I think Nick Dacos right up there. I think the three Sydney boys, Errol, Isaac, and Chad are going to be up there. Lockie's going to be up there.
Yeah, Cripper. I reckon
Cripper's been great this year.
Gets votes.
There's been Zach Merritt's going to be up there. Yeah. There's been a lot. Sarong's been really good. Bont's been good. So there's been a lot of good players this year, and especially my super coach team. I think it's been phenomenal.
You're not going to send any more messages out
no,
to the
I've
boys?
got no one to
send.
They've all been great. So all my mids have been great.
Yeah, cool.
Not mids, my whole team, sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of guns around the league.
And which teams and players do you like to watch? I think I know the teams, but run us through the teams you like to watch, and then who are your favourite players?
Teams I like to watch. Collingwood, love to watch Pies. I think Carlton, I love to watch. Sydney, I mean, I guess the best teams are pretty fun to watch. Anyone else? Hawks been flying.
Man,
lately.
your Hawks are up and about.
Yeah, like watching them.
We saw Giddey out the other night.
Yeah.
So Giddey and I might actually be co-hosting this pod very soon, which is some news for you.
Nice.
So we'll have him in more often.
Yeah. Players, I think all the ones I named. I love watching. Another one I haven't mentioned, Charlie Curnow. He's one of my favorite guys to watch.
Yeah.
I love watching him play. I think Carlton's probably one of my favorite teams to watch as well. And the big body mids, I love watching them. Cripper, Bont, those type of guys.
Yeah.
Tommy Mitchell, obviously.
Mate, obviously.
The inside mids. Love watching him.
Yeah.
But
can you... When do the Olympics finish this year? Because would you potentially have time to come watch the finals?
Yeah, I'll come back.
Because you never are here normally during the grand final.
Nah, I still won't be here for the grand final because that's like end of September.
Is that training camp NBA?
Yeah. And I'll be back in America early September. So I'll come back after the Olympics for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Get to games, but then I'll be out here.
Yeah, cool.
I wish I could watch the finals. I was here last year for a couple of the finals. I watched you guys play.
You were at the Melbourne game?
Yeah, when you both played Melbourne.
Yeah.
I was there for that. Came in the locker room after the game, said
that's
what
right.
up. So
yeah, that's right. I remember that. What about what's going to happen in Paris? Like, will you get downtime to go explore and live? Like, or is it pretty regimented with, boys, we're here to win, we're here to train?
Yeah.
Or like, do we get a chance? Like, it's not often you get to go to Paris.
No, it's not. It's my first time, and
yeah,
I think a lot of it, there will be downtime. You play every other day, so I mean there is downtime essentially, but we're gonna have practice and film and different things on those days. But I will try and explore, and I do want to watch other athletes and other events because it's all going on. And I don't know if we're staying in the village because the basketball for the group stage is in Lille, which is like a couple hours out of Paris. So I don't know if we're staying in the village or not. But for the next round, if we get through, when we get through, is I think in Paris. So we'll be closer to everything. So I do want to explore and get around to it. Obviously, I've heard lots of good things about Paris, so I do want to explore.
Ball Magnets, thank you for listening to this episode. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. And again, want to thank My Muscle Chef for jumping on board for the finals and supporting us. Their meals are seriously tasty, healthy, and just far too convenient. They're delicious, freshly made, and again, made by chefs. So if you want to make your meal prep easier, prepare for the week of training, I implore you to get involved. A couple of my other favorites with pesto pasta, chipotle chicken, peppercorn steak. There's honestly so many options. Whatever food you like, whether it's a high protein, high carb meal, they can provide. And again, I'd like to remind you of our discount, which is to give you $120 off your first 6 meals using Ball Magnets code 120. So Ball Magnets 120 at checkout. T's and C's apply, but head to mymusclechef.com.